the audience is so used to seeing what they see these days that you want to be able to startle them if you can.
28 years later is Danny Boyle's highly anticipated return to the universe he launched with the cult classic 28 Days Later, followed by 28 Weeks Later. Set decades after the rage virus first devastated the UK, the new film brings fresh energy and vision to the series. We sat down with Boyle to discuss how he delivered something unexpected, thrilling, and passionate with this new film.
Is there intention in doing 28 years later now in regards to how long it's been since the last film in the
Yes,
universe?
definitely. It was. We've been asked a number of times about it in intervening years, and in fact we did one script at one point, a script, and it's an Alex Garland script, so it's a good script. It's not like but I don't think either of us were very interested in pursuing it. It didn't get any traction between us. But this was different, and I think you have to say because of COVID, that made it more acute. And the thing is still there, and it evolves. And that was also interesting because we thought our virus would evolve. It would change. They do over time. And they also do it in order to survive. So that was interesting as well. So that gave us stuff to look at. And then Brexit, the whole idea of Brexit, feeds into it the idea that England, the UK, isolates itself and kind of like vaingloriously imagines that it's somehow got something special about it because of that, you know?
The film's trailer features a haunting 1915 recording of American actor Taylor Holmes reading a war-themed poem titled Boots.
How did you come to that sound, and how does it relate to the project?
So it's brilliant for us because we were looking for an archival sound that went with this idea, which it's sort of just visual storytelling, really. It isn't really articulated by the people because they wouldn't articulate it, but it's an illustration of how their minds are training their boys, not girls. So again, that's significant. They're training their boys into warfare. So they have a warfare mentality, and it's very much a nostalgic warfare mentality, looking backwards. They have no access to visual imagery, but they would tell stories about Laurence Olivier in Henry V, or about the English common bowman, which is a very significant part of British cultural history, you know, and they're training the boys into that. And we needed an accompaniment, an archival accompaniment to this. So the trailer people sent this song, this version. And when I heard it, I was like, oh my God. I said, that works brilliantly for the trailer, but this is much more important that it's in the film. And so we moved it into the film.
7, 6, 11, 5.
Before I saw the film, I was seeing this photo of your rig with like 20-some iPhones going around for the bullet time effect. How do you use these sort of techniques to maybe surprise an audience that thinks they've seen everything?
Yes. That's key, because I'm like that. I want to see things. I want cinema. You want it to be, you know, TV sits there, and it's just part of everything, and it's just part of your regular 365-day-a-year life. It's just there, but cinema isn't. You kind of have to make an effort. When I go there, I want it to be worthwhile not having sat at home. So you want to surprise people, and you want it to be organic to the story, but you want to surprise people. So the iPhone idea allowed us to do a poor man's bullet time. This, you can carry these rigs because they're lightweight. And for the technique, to use the technique in whichever way you want to use it, you can select bits of it. You can go backward and forward, or you can go all the way around. And it gives you impact. It gives you, especially with the visceral, violent bits, you know, the audience is so used to seeing what they see these days that you want to be able to startle them if you can.
Along with that photo that's going around, I think usually a joke that's attached to it is, for new filmmakers, there's no more excuses. All you need is 20 iPhones. What would you say to like a new filmmaker today, doing with what they have, material-wise?
It's interesting. When video cameras came out, and then when smartphones came out, everybody said, oh, there'll be loads of films made on these things, and they're not. And the reason for that is that ultimately, it's the story that matters more than all the technique in the world. If your story isn't good, it doesn't matter what technique you use. People just get bored straight away if the story's not good. It's one of the brutal realities that you don't matter how interesting you are technically, that's it. If the story's not good, they're not interested. You have to have the story. So, but I would say if you've got your story, just find a way of telling it. And it doesn't matter what technology. Use whatever you can. You get 20 mates together and borrow 20 iPhones so you can afford them, or get their parents' phones, or get sponsorship get anything. Just tell it your own way. But it's the story that matters ultimately more than anything.
I think the most cathartic moment for me made me cry, which was the Memento Mori.
Yeah.
Like when we hit that part of the film. Very much like life meets acceptance of death, the cycles. How do these cyclical themes sort of play into the DNA of 28 Years Later and all the films within? Or maybe even your collaborative journey with Alex Garland?
It's I think only Alex, as a screenwriter, would have the courage to do an extended sequence which is about the importance of dying. How important it is, and that there's no afterlife, for instance, which is because Alex is a hardcore atheist. He's absolutely adamant about this. So it leads to this, not celebration, but this commemoration of everyone. And it doesn't matter good, bad, infected, non-infected. That's not the point. It's our ultimate destiny, and it's something we all share. Doesn't matter how successful or unsuccessful you are. We're all equal in that way.